out. He called me up Monday, right before the class. I said, now when does it meet? No show.
You're after Jerry now.
Poor
Well,
Jerry.
Mickey wants to take. What time to?
How's it going? Is it going to help?
It was
This is the lady that got it all going. Ruth was the first one to ask me if we could do something.
Oh, really?
She was.
It was going real well until today and
Well,
last
that's
night.
okay. I bet you learned that, you know, you're going to have your ups and downs. Okay, well, y'all.
I
have
really
fun.
went to have a handbasket
See ya.
back to the office yesterday. Oh. And it's still on a handbasket.
At the office. Right, Ron, that was just a folder for you in the handout that you missed earlier. That's for you to put all your stuff in. All right, so any revelations since yesterday? Marlene said she was down to 36 cigarettes, which is, what, not quite as fast, right?
Not quite half of what I was smoking.
Yeah, almost.
That's not bad, Molly.
I was
She
down
said
to,
she's not ready to quit yet, but maybe she's
She's
ready to
doing
cut
good,
down.
that's right, really.
I was down to 1 pack since Monday until.
So, something happened in the office,
Oh, yeah.
and since you've smoked more again, is that problem taken care of in the
No,
office?
but it sure calmed me down.
Why didn't you have a cup of tea?
Couldn't go to sleep with, I couldn't take a chance of going to sleep on that one.
Okay, well, this is a good example, though, we've talked about this before. Things are gonna happen and they're really gonna upset you. But the biggest part about staying away from cigarettes once you do quit is learning another coping technique, something else that can calm you down. And actually, cigarettes don't calm you down. They actually speed up your metabolism, speed up your heart rate, and raise your blood pressure. So they really hype you up. Even though you think they calm you down. Smokers have a heart rate that is on average 12 to 14 beats faster than people who don't smoke all the time.
It raises your blood pressure, and that's why I take blood pressure pills.
Could
I
be.
had for about 4 years. Blood pressure was too high, and I
That's
smoked.
raise your blood pressure.
Well, they told me to quit smoking, but I didn't have anything to do with it. Oh,
And blood pressures have something to do with strokes.
yes,
So, you know,
Yes.
I mean, you have a health concern that hopefully will help you, you know, to realize it is something you want to give up. Yeah, it definitely raises your blood pressure. It also lowers good cholesterol levels. The cholesterols that protect from heart disease. All right, so, okay, something happened in the office that really was aggravating yesterday. What else could you have tried to do to calm down?
The only thing that would calm me down is having a punching bag and beating the
Good.
crap out of something.
That's okay, too. A punching
And I
bag
didn't
is-
have one.
Maybe.
Those big soft bats.
Mhm. I have a damn it doll in my office. It's this ugly thing, it's got a big head and 2 long legs, and you grab the legs and you just hit it against the desk. Someone gave me. Though I don't usually lose my temper or hit things, but it is kind of cute.
No, I never
Um,
lose my temper and hit things, but that would have been.
Some people do have things like punching bags around, okay? What are some other things that might not have worked for you at that time, but maybe worked for someone else? Did you get out of the office to smoke your cigarette? You had to, right? You didn't
Yes.
smoke in the office. Did you think to try anything else before you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. 3 glasses of water, deep breathing.
Well, that's good to try those things. So you have
Didn't work.
your repertoire. Okay, well, that's good, but that's just gonna take some practice, right? How to cope with a sudden stressful situation. Sounds like it was something that just kind of came up pretty quickly and when you got back to the office. So you need to learn you need to have some other way to deal with those kinds of stresses. Now, today I wanted to touch a little bit on how important exercise is, and then also talk a little bit about weight control, not so much of the stuff that I think most people already know, but just maybe some other facts that might help you out, and maybe even cause you not to beat yourself up over gaining a little weight when you do find it. As far as exercise, I think I did mention yesterday that people who exercise regularly and quit smoking do have a much higher success rate for staying quit. Because exercise is such a good coping technique. It is a natural tranquilizer. Okay, when you exercise vigorously, your body produces endorphins, which are natural opiates, and it serves as a tranquilizer. So it is one of the best stress management techniques around. It also helps you to maintain your weight if you're worried about losing weight. And it doesn't have to be an aerobics class. It doesn't have to be anything real structured. It just can be as simple as going out and taking a walk. And if you don't have a long period of time where you can go out and take a 20-minute walk, if you can only take 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that's okay too. That'll all add up, help you out. So if you don't exercise at all right now, try to do something to get yourself more active. Marlene, I know, has a big garden. That's good exercise. If you like to work in the yard, if you mow the grass, pull weeds, all that fun stuff, it's exercise. When you have to send something over to another office, if maybe you can hand carry it over to another building if you have that time, that's good. Find some simple things that can get you more active. If you have stairs at home, use them more often. If you're, I don't know, in my house the laundry's downstairs and the bedroom's upstairs, so you go up and down with the laundry. Make an extra trip take an extra flight each time you go up the stairs. Anything at all that can just get you moving around a little bit more. And most importantly, if you can find something you like to do, because that's going to be a key in sticking with it. If you like to go to an aerobics class, there's a big social component to that. That is also part of its abilities to help reduce stress because there's that social interaction. Great, do that. But if you don't like that kind of thing, you'd rather do something by yourself, that's fine. But find something you like to do and just try to do it more. Okay, park your car out further in the lot. Park in the furthest spot possible on campus when it's safe in the daytime to get to your bed. Okay?
I take the bus a lot, and I have to walk from home to the bus and then back again.
Good,
That's a good walk.
good.
Sure don't smoke when you do that.
No, see, a lot of people would, but you're,
That's the
No,
other,
that's-
I do.
well, that's good. That's a good example of getting a little bit of exercise, and you're pretty much forced to do it when you have to walk from the bus home.
Well, you get used to it, it's nice.
Yeah, I remember not having a car for a little while when my car broke down and walking. I only lived 2 miles from the office, so I could walk in, and it was really nice. It was a rush sometimes in the morning, but the afternoon it was really nice walking home this time of year. So, anything you like to do, okay? If you live in a neighborhood, you can take a walk after dinner, because that after dinner cigarette is usually so important. Try just taking that walk first, and you might reduce at least 1 cigarette that you smoke in the evening. Now, how many of you are concerned about weight gain? Okay, everybody, okay. Now, have you tried to quit before and gained weight?
Yeah, and the scary thing when I tried to put before was I was subsisting on, for the first 3 months, 500 calories a day. No cheating, no nothing.
While you were quitting
When I
smoking?
quit, I also was running 3 miles a day and working out, was running and doing stretches and exercise. I gained 20 pounds.
Were you drinking at all?
No, not then I wasn't. I gave up everything except water, skinless chicken breast, and a tossed salad, and that's what I lived on for 3 months.
And you gained 20 pounds.
And I gained 20 pounds. It was like my metabolism shut down.
Okay, well, there could be a couple things going on if that was actually all you're eating. How about salad dressing? I mean, that's
No.
a big calorie thing,
It was
okay.
lemon
Two
juice
things.
and
First
salt.
of all, you weren't having enough calories, so yeah, your metabolism
Salt
was
and
shutting
water.
down. Okay? When you don't get enough calories, you're gonna gain weight on even a little bit because your body hoards those calories and doesn't burn any of them up. The other thing that does go on with smoke, when you do quit smoking, you do lower metabolism because actually your metabolism starts to return more to normal. Because nicotine speeds up your metabolism. Okay, so and that's why lots of people smoke as a weight control mechanism. They smoke rather than eat, and that's how a lot of young women particularly get started with smoking because it's a way to control their weight. And it does actually speed up your metabolism. So if you change nothing, ate the same way, exercised the same way, and gave up cigarettes, you are likely to put on a few pounds, okay, as your body's adjusting to its lower metabolism. And lower metabolism means that you just don't burn calories as quickly as you did.
What do you consider gain some?
The average is 7. Average 8 pounds for women, 6 pounds for men. Okay. Now I did some reading just recently, and they don't know why, and I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but listen to what some of the researchers show. They haven't figured out a reason. Black women tend to gain more weight than anybody else when they quit smoking, and they can't figure out why that is yet. Somehow tied with the metabolism. The average women tend to gain 2 pounds more than men. And part of that is women tend to crave the sweets more than men. Most of us knew that anyway.
I'm dead.
Because what nicotine does, well, you need to know this so you can combat this when the time comes. In addition to raising your metabolism, nicotine also increases your insulin, which causes you to want more sweets. Okay? And women tend to have a higher craving for sweets than men do, and that's why they think women gain a little bit more weight than men do. But there is a real tendency, and I've seen it with lots of people quit smoking, that they want to eat chocolate bars, cakes, things like that. And it has to do with your insulin and glucose levels. So you want to be careful of that. One recommendation is that, I thought this sounded kind of crazy, but it may work, is that you sprinkle any food you eat with a little bit of sugar or artificial sweetener. Meat, potatoes, anything, so that you won't crave the sweets so much. I don't think I would do that, but if it got bad enough, maybe you would try that. Also recommended that you eat smaller meals throughout the day so you're eating more often. And that would help out in a number of areas. You wouldn't get the cravings because you'd be eating more often. And you also are taking care of some of that hand-to-mouth habit that you have. You know, we're always putting something in our mouths. That if you're eating more often, then you won't be looking for as many substitutes for that. Okay. Beyond that average weight gain, it usually is because we're just substituting one habit for another. Okay, that means we're just eating way more than we used to, trying to satisfy. So if we gain 20 or more pounds, that's what's going on. So you need to think about making smarter substitutions. What are some good things to snack on when you're quitting smoking? Raw vegetables are good, with a low fat or no dip. Okay, so dips are high fat. What else? Can you think? Pretzels? Popcorn. And again, not a low fat popcorn, not a bag of microwave popcorn which is loaded with fat and calories.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Hot air popcorn.
Doesn't have to be hot air. They have some newer ones that are light, that are truly light, but you have to read a label and watch out because most of the regular microwave popcorns, there's lots of fat in them, and when you look at the calories on the box, that's per serving, and there's usually 3 to 4 servings in a bag of popcorn. Most people eat the whole bag themselves. Think of it as a serving. So there's a whole lot of fat in a lot of the regular microwave popcorns. They're about 50% fat.
How about if you just get the kind that
Or
just
hot.
has the salt instead of the butter?
Just make sure it doesn't, even though it doesn't have butter flavor, it still can have a lot of fat in it. Just look on the label on the side panel and look for the grams of fat that are listed. If it has less than 3 grams for every 100 calories, it's okay, that it's low fat. But if you see a big number under grams of fat, just put it back. Because fat will put weight on you much more quickly than anything else. Okay. Fruits, vegetables. Okay. Things to try not to go overboard on are the candy bars, which is a big thing. Things like Nash crackers, cakes, cookies, and soft drinks. Lots of people will drink a lot more, and if you are, we talked about the water being so important. Watch out for full strength Cokes, Pepsis, anything like that. If you drink a lot more coffee, we talked about trying not to do that, but watch the cream and sugar in coffee. Because if you have a number of cups a day, if you have 2 or 3 cups, don't worry about it. But if you have a lot, it adds up to a lot of fat for your day. As I said, I believe again in the first class, you need to gain in excess of 70 pounds to begin to equal the stress that you're putting on your cardiovascular system by smoking. So from a health standpoint, because you all were health-concerned smokers, even if you gain 20, 25 pounds, which nobody wants to think that they're going to do that, from a health standpoint, you're still a lot better off. If you're careful and choose the right kind of foods, hard candies are a good substitute. We talked about cinnamon gum, things like that to keep your mouth occupied. And again, the water will help to reduce weight gain, because if you're drinking your 64 ounces of water a day, it does fill you up. And yes, you will go to the bathroom a lot until your body becomes accustomed to it. But again, that'll help flush that nicotine. And then when you do finally quit, it will help speed up the whole withdrawal process. All right, I have 4 handouts for each of you, and I want to talk about some of these things. Should take one clip and pass them on. Okay, the first one I want to talk about is actually the second sheet, I think, in your group. Looks like this. Oh, I'm sorry, Marlene.
I know it's nothing. That's okay.
Okay, it talks about nutritional guidelines for smoking cessation. I mentioned in it yesterday when we were looking at Ruth's tea bags, the alkaline or acidity effect of different kinds of foods. And the more alkaline a food is, it can help to reduce your cravings for nicotine. So the foods in the top half of the page, molasses through summer squash, would be good things to eat while you're trying to quit smoking, because they may help to reduce those cravings. And you'll see they're mostly vegetables and fruits, and we have some beans, figs, molasses.
Where is this?
It's the second page, I'm sorry. Okay, and then the more acidic a food is, it may actually increase the cravings for nicotine. Okay, so the ones at the bottom of the list would be the least helpful to you. Okay, and they're your meats mostly, cheeses. All right, so I just thought you might think that would be interesting. Give it a try, see if it might help you out. The top sheet talks about withdrawal symptoms, and y'all have had varying degrees of experience with quitting. And one thing about quitting smoking and withdrawal symptoms is that it's different for everybody. There are some pretty standard things, but different people experience different things. And a lot of it depends on our tolerance to different things. But pretty common is irritability. I think most of you who quit have probably noticed that, and that is mostly related to just your body needing that nicotine fix. Okay? And getting tired because nicotine does rev you up. Okay, so you are likely to feel more tired. Okay, and sleep a lot. And go ahead and go with it. Take your naps if you can. Some people have trouble sleeping for the first week or so. Sometimes because they're coughing, and every time you're coughing, lots of people quit smoking, and then all of a sudden they find themselves coughing more, especially in the morning. That's a good sign. Actually, that's a recovery symptom, because the years of smoking have done a lot of damage to the little cilia, which are the little hairs in your lungs and your bronchial passage that filter out all the stuff that you don't want to get to your lungs. And they have been numbed and deadened over the years. And you need those because they help clean out your lungs. That's one of the reasons why smokers are more susceptible to bronchitis and pneumonia, because their cilia just don't function the way they're supposed to. So that's a sign of them coming back, becoming more active and doing what they're there to do and help to clean out the airways. So that's a good sign, that's that cough. Dizziness sometimes, because we're getting more oxygen. When you inhale on a cigarette, you pull in carbon monoxide, and the part of your blood, the hemoglobin, that carries oxygen to the rest of your body, and oxygen is what the rest of your body needs to make energy. It would rather pick up carbon monoxide than oxygen, so the blood will leave the oxygen and pick up the carbon monoxide and circulate that more than the oxygen. So you have been depriving yourself of oxygen for a long time. So some of that dizziness is associated with you now getting the amount of oxygen that you do need. Okay, the lack of concentration, fidgetness, things like that. Again, the nicotine is a stimulant, and it does help you to concentrate. The tightness in the chest talks about. Again, that's associated with the nicotine craving. Constipation, gas, stomach pain, okay? Your body's going through a lot of changes, and your digestive system will go through lots of changes. So for the first few weeks anyway, you might notice some changes there, and again, that's just completely normal. But lots of them are things that will make you want to go back to smoking, unfortunately. Okay, the cravings, anytime I have an ex-smoker come into a class, they always do say, yeah, the cravings probably never go away completely, but they sure get a lot less frequent the longer you go. They still know that they can never have another cigarette, and they may crave one once every 3 years and crave one really badly, but that's all it is. So the longer they go without smoking, the less often they do crave the cigarette. Did either any of you have that experience when you quit for a period of time? They just become more and more spaced apart, okay? Because you don't have the physical dependency on the nicotine that you once did. Okay. On the flip side of that, it talks about all the things that happen physiologically when you quit smoking. Within 20 minutes, your blood pressure can return to normal. Pulse rate can drop to the normal rate. Body temperature tends to increase. Most people who smoke have cold feet and hands.
Yeah.
That's because you're not getting the circulation to your feet and hands.
Really?
Cuts down on circulation to the extremities. And you can see it, I've seen, I forget what they call it, it's not an x-ray, but where you can watch the blood flow when a person is not smoking, and then when they do smoke, and it shuts right down to your extremities. So you will probably begin to feel that your hands become warm, and feet become warmer after a period of time. And that blood flow returns there. Okay, another thing while I'm thinking, well, no, it is on here, okay. Carbon monoxide levels drop to normal, oxygen levels increase. Within a day of the last cigarette, you begin to reduce your chances of having a heart attack, the #1 risk factor for smoking. More people who smoke die of heart attacks than they do of lung cancer, far more. Okay, for most people, it's a much greater risk. Within 2 days, the nerve endings start to regrow. You also tend to gain more sensation back in your fingertips, because lots of times after holding cigarettes in your fingertips, you've lost some of the sensation there. The ability to smell and taste things enhance, and that's another reason why we gain some weight. Things do taste a whole lot better. You've got lots of dead taste buds, and you will notice that food tastes and smells a whole lot better, and you enjoy it a whole lot more when you quit smoking. But it's a good time to retrain your taste buds to like healthy foods, low-fat foods. Okay, within 3 days, bronchial tubes relax, make breathing easier, and your lung capacity does increase. Within 3 months, overall improvement in circulation. Any of you that are feeling winded, your walking becomes easier. Lung function increases to 30%. After up to 9 months, coughing, sinus congestion, fatigue, shortness of breath decrease, and the cilia are regrowing in the lungs. And then 5 and 10 years later, it talks about lung cancer deaths and other cancers returning to the risks of people who never smoked. Precancerous cells are replaced with new healthy cells, things like that. So you can reduce those risks. Okay? At the bottom, all those benefits are lost when you smoke just 1 cigarette a day. So you can't smoke this one. Are you missing one? Do you have a
Some of it's on the back.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, I thought the next page should have "To My Cigarette." Okay. Okay. You have been closer to me than any living creature, often snuggling in my pocket near my heart. My lips have caressed you for more than do my family. And when I have awakened, my thoughts have turned to you and remained there for many hours of the day. I have worshipped your shrine with burnt offerings constantly. At my desk and favorite chair, the fires seldom have gone out on your altar. I have scattered your incense of smoke everywhere. I have called upon you for more help than I called upon my Maker. I have paid more money for you than I have given to the church and charities combined. I have risked my life for you. By heavy smoking, I have taken a very real chance of dying from lung cancer or a heart attack or suffocating with emphysema. I have taken no such risk for my religion. I bear in my body the marks of my devotion to you, the color of my fingers, my teeth, my wrinkling skin. My breath and my clothes have been heavy with your scent. My whole world has seemed to have revolved around you. I have been your slave, but no more. From this day forward, I choose not to smoke. I choose freedom and health. I choose life. I put that in there because that actually the first part, for most people who are smokers, long-term smokers, when you do quit smoking, it is like losing your best friend, your constant companion, your always there support system. And you do actually go through a grieving process, and you should go through the grieving process just as if you lost an actual best friend or a loved one. It's not going to be an easy thing to do. And again, you're going to have to develop another coping strategy, something else to turn to in times when you would turn to your cigarette that was right there in your pocket or your purse. But it takes an exaggerated look at something that really is quite true for a lot of people who smoke. And it might seem, reading something like that make you look at something a little differently. So I just put that in there. Also, the last handout you have when it talks about why quitting means gaining, and that's just to add to your file, and it's basically what I talked about earlier as far as what to expect, why people who quit smoking do gain weight. My experience in my smoking cessation classes personally, and the people that I've seen over the years who have quit, they haven't gained a whole lot of weight that it's noticeable. Most of them have stayed around that, no higher than that 7, and some have actually, gone ahead and taken that off shortly after. If you do quit and you find yourself gaining weight, try to let go of that for a little while at least. Don't let it certainly get out of hand. Try to get a handle and eat the right kinds of foods. But take care of one problem at a time. You don't want to quit smoking at the same time, go on a diet at the same time, give up caffeine, and at the same time start exercising like a maniac, because you're going to set yourself up for failure, because it's going to be just too much to handle all at once. But if you can put down your cigarettes and then maybe slowly over time add some of the other things, maybe then start the exercise if you don't already do it. Or better still, start some of the other things first if you're not ready to quit smoking yet. Get those under your belt. Build up some successes so that you'll feel more ready to tackle the smoking, which is really the hardest thing as far as any of the lifestyle changes that we talk about. For most people, it's easier to start an exercise program and stick with it than it is to smoke. It's easier to lose weight than it is to quit smoking.
A glass of wine at night will also help a little bit, and it's also good for your circulation. It's good for your blood. Just one glass, no more,
For some people.
for some.
Every night?
Yeah, one glass. One glass. Do it with your meal.
That's true.
Brush your teeth a lot, sure. That'll help.
Yeah, my 2-year-old had the cleanest teeth in town.
Mhm. Different things will help you out, but what's the key? Just got to be ready to do it, and only you can decide when you're ready. I also have for you a sheet that basically summarizes what we've talked about over the 4 days. And when you're ready, hopefully you can pull this out and refer to it. I have more smoking logs if you'd like those. Ron, did you ever get to record any of your cigarettes on a log? Did you ever get to use one of these to
No,
record your cigarettes?
I just made some more.
Okay. For when you get to use them. Don't lose them. Use them when you feel like you're getting ready to make a commitment. One of the first things you want to do is learn why you're smoking, and you can record those logs and look at it over a day and say, oh, well, this is what's going on. I smoke when this happens, or I smoke when I'm with this friend. So you know you can avoid some of those situations. And slowly try to eliminate different cigarettes. If you can do without a 3 or a 4, do everything you can to do without it. Okay? Talks about the regular exercise, the deep breathing that we went over, or meditation, or some other kind of relaxation technique. The support system that we talked about yesterday, which is crucial. Anticipate and plan for those relapse situations. Okay, and that's a big thing. That's something that over the next several months, if you're not ready to quit, keep a journal. And anytime you think of a situation, or you're in a situation like you were in yesterday, Ruth, write down that situation in that journal and write down some things you could have done instead of smoke some more cigarettes that would help you. So then you have that you've already planned ahead for the next time that's going to happen. Okay, get rid of all the cigarettes when you do smoke. Make sure there are none to be found anywhere by accident. Okay. When you do quit, on the day you wake up and you decide this is the day, tell your friends, your family, that you're quitting, that you want to be a non-smoker, and promise them that you'll never take a puff of another cigarette that you haven't mindfully purchased yourself. Not going to bum anymore, right? You're not bumming anymore right now, right? Do you think that will help by not bumming? I mean, do you bum?
Some people.
Some people do, some people don't. Really try not to do that. I also have a list of some of the additional resources in the area. If you want to take a more formal smoking cessation class where they're going to have a quit day and do that kind of thing. This is maybe when you're ready, you decide you're ready, and you still feel like you'll do better if you're in a group situation. Lots of people do. These are some numbers in the area to call, at least to get started in finding some different smoking cessation programs. Some of them are in Southside, but they may have a class here on the peninsula. Some of them are free, some of them cost.
When I quit for the 2 years, I did the Seventh Day Adventist.
You did? I haven't known anybody to do that yet.
Our next door neighbor was the Seventh Day Adventist minister.
Uh-huh,
It wasn't a group thing.
uh-huh.
They give you this book that you have to do, and it was obnoxious. But it worked. I mean, it worked for 2 years. I mean, basically what you did the first 2 days, you totally fasted except for water. And then on the third day, you implement fruit, a little fruit into it. And the water.
2 days, not 1, 2?
That wouldn't work for me.
As I said, it was,
But it worked for you.
yeah, but it was
2 years.
obnoxious. It was obnoxious. It was the most obnoxious thing I've ever done in my life.
But it caused you to make it a priority, didn't it? With all those things you had to do. Remember at the tape, they said initially that you have to make this your #1 priority.
Especially when you had the minister living next door that would come
Check
over
on you.
at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's time to go for our walk.
No.
But it got you to quit. And you
And it
did for
wasn't-
2 years.
Yeah,
so-
it wasn't a group situation.
Mhm.
It was this
Individual.
program that they have. And that works for some people. As I said, I had the incentive next door coming and invited me out at 7 a.m. to go for a walk. 9 o'clock at night.
But some of the others, the Freedom from Smoking, Fresh Start, they are definitely group things. I've taught those. And lots of times it depends on the other people in the group too, how successful it's going to be, because you need to be able to talk openly and share things. But those are options for you. American Cancer Society and the Lung Association also have free materials that they could send you if you were interested, again, when you're ready to quit. The other resource you do have is Common Health here with Sue and the different activities that she does try to provide, because they offer those supportive activities. We did the fat budgeting challenge not too long ago, and it helped people learn how to cut down on some of the fat in their food. So if weight gain were a concern, that would help in that area. Of course, they have the exercise classes, or just the wellness center over there, which is available to you, and it's as nice as any health club. Has the same equipment in any health club that you would pay a couple $100 a year for. So if you'd like to go in there and use a cross-country ski machine or a treadmill or a bicycle, or pop in an aerobics video and do a step aerobics class on your own in there, go in and do some stretching on the mats, whatever, they do have it over there and they'll help you out with it. So that's a great resource. Through Common Health, we have a video and a resource library, and Sue could let you know what's available if you're interested in different activities. I'm sure at some point we'll offer some stress management classes, some more nutrition type classes, more exercise challenges, etc. So watch for what she offers, or as Ruth did, suggest starting some type of a program, and she can get in touch with us. Okay. Anything you want to talk about? It's the right time. Do you feel like you've gotten a few ideas of things that might help you along the way when you do get ready? Maybe you're starting to formulate a strategy a little bit. Until yesterday.
I got carving and had when they're gone, that's it.
That's it.
Have you ever tried hypnosis?
Yes.
Did you go to that thing with me?
Yes.
Oh, man, I know David did.
We went together, remember?
Yeah, that's right. David went the second time, okay.
Jan went too.
Yeah.
So did Mary.
You all went
And
together.
we all smoked.
I
haven't known
I
too many
lasted
people
longer
for
than
it
Jan.
To work long-term for it. And I've known a lot of people for it to work short-term for it.
David stayed, he's still at 10 cigarettes a day, you know,
Well, that's
to,
good.
to now.
Mhm.
He does things like leave the cigarettes in the car. He's handicapped and in a wheelchair. And it's real difficult to get back to his car.
Yeah.
Two friends though that has been on cigarettes for 6 years going through that.
Good.
Now he looks like a little round roly-poly now.
That's okay though. That's okay.
And I mean, his
Looks
wife,
better on the inside.
his wife smokes. I don't know how he does it because his wife smokes like a smokestack. And one of the times, he and I went through the hypnosis thing, and I did all right until I went over to visit Ed and Phyllis. And Phyllis is sitting there smoking like a chimney. And poor Ed didn't seem to faze him. And I'm trying to figure out, how are you doing this?
There are some people that can do that.
Well, my father quit. My father quit like that one, but he thought he'd had a heart attack. And they'd taken him to the hospital, and they said, no, but you better lose some weight and you better stop smoking. So the first thing he did was stop smoking. He gained more weight, and he'd gotten fat at that point. He'd been skinny all his life. And so the first thing he did was quit smoking, and 2 months later, my mother pulled a diet on him, but he didn't know it at first. You know, he just noticed he wasn't eating as much. But she cooked everything. So,
He got what.
and he did it, and he always kept that last pack of cigarettes up on the shelf.
Yeah,
Drove
some
me
people do
crazy.
that. Some people do that. They keep that one cigarette or one pack or something like that.
I had my
And he said,
emergency.
I'm stronger than it.
See,
in a glass
but you have to
container
be you have that one for emergency only?
that got broken at the end of the 2 years.
So you probably shouldn't have one of those, okay? It's a personality that can resist that temptation.
But it's like it takes a scare or something. For most people I know that really quit, it's usually some major scare that's done it to them.
It didn't for my father.
What's her face? That was over.
Adrian?
Adrian, yeah.
Well, hers wasn't a major scare. Hers was the real thing.
Yeah, I know, but, it takes something, either a scare or the real thing happening to you that makes you quit.
My father-in-law quit though without having any scares. He quit to try to get me to quit. We had a little pact. He would quit if I quit. So we both quit together, and I lasted 3 months, and that was almost 11 years ago, and he hasn't had a cigarette since. And the weird thing is, he never gives anybody a hard time about smoking, and it doesn't bother him being around smokers. It doesn't bother him. That was the hardest thing I had, because if you're around somebody that smokes, you just go,
Oh, another thing with my dad, he was a drinker too. I mean, big time drinker. If he wasn't an alcoholic, he was the next best thing to it. And that was one thing that he stopped all three of these things
Together.
all within 2 months of each other. But my mother, and she talked to his doctor, when he quit, she gave him a glass of wine at night also. Because that was on the doctor's recommendation that it shouldn't be a major shock to the system to totally cut him off. They did that to him when he had his automobile accident and he was in the hospital for 2 months. They had to give him some alcohol. They could not cut him totally off from alcohol. I'd never heard of that before till then.
Maybe he was alcoholic.
I don't know. But I mean, it was a thing that the doctor said at that point in time, that was one of the questions asked, is he an alcoholic? And my mom looked at him and says, well, is drinking this much every day an alcoholic? And he went, we'll give him something for this. But,
Yeah, there's no medical reason why he shouldn't, other than just, cutting off too many things.
At once.
And you really don't want to do it all at once, one thing at a time. And I'm a big believer in do the small stuff first. Just like getting rid of some of your cigarettes, some of the cigarettes. Did you have your cigarette this morning with the dog?
Yes.
Okay.
I fell off totally for yesterday.
But if you can find cigarettes you can eliminate, great, build up your success that way. So then it gives you more, you feel more empowered that you can do it, gives you the confidence that you can go all the way.
I tried one today, which was, I lit it, took 2 puffs and put it out. And sit it in an ashtray and walk away, go do something, and come back when I couldn't stand it and light it again, take another 2 puffs and put it out and go walk away.
You need to
There's
crush it.
nothing any more
I didn't crush
obnoxious
Than
than
a relic.
than a
Yeah.
relay.
Yeah.
You gotta knock it off.
I think there's something that makes it more, though it doesn't make any sense to me now, I'm thinking that there's a reason that it.
Because more than stuff is coming through it. More stronger, you mean, or something?
Yeah, but why would that be? Because it has less to travel? I don't know. I can't think of what I read now, but there was something about relit cigarettes.
They're nasty tasting. All I have to do though is start try some of these menthol.
Wanna
I
try?
like the menthol.
You don't like menthol?
That
I'm
cigarette
allergic to
lasts
menthol.
45 minutes, so
I mean,
They say it's stronger.
I get really sick, like,
Well,
maybe I'll buy it.
maybe
back
that's a
in menthol.
strategy for you. Okay. So just find simple things you can do, but most importantly, find some coping techniques. Practice your deep breathing. Just taking a time out, taking a short walk. Changing some of the stress in your life, if you can. Controlling some of the stress in your life. And believe you'll succeed when you're ready, because you will. Look at all the people that have done it. They're no different than you. And it does take the average person 3 to 4 tries to succeed. So some of you are right up there. Maybe even overdue. So this next one could be the charm. But it does take that practice. Okay?
Actually, what I need to do is go on a 3-week vacation, doing nothing but sailing.
Really?
When I'm not sailing, I'm never something.
Well, hopefully you have a good wind too. Keep blowing the cigarette out.
I never smoked when I'm sailing.
Well, maybe you can plan a vacation.
I noticed that. I did not smoke, hardly at all when I went skiing. There's something about the cold weather, the activity, even when I slowed down.
Cumbersomeness.
Yeah, being, I'm gonna die,
Take some of that weed away. Well, you have that adrenaline rush, replacing the nicotine.
And all that fresh air.
Now, skiing didn't do that for me.
Oh, it did me.
You get
But I
down to the
kept
bottom,
going. I
so
wouldn't
have
stop.
that
I'd
cigarette.
start about 9:30.
I could never understand people, because I'm a skier, and I could never understand them smoking, going up the lift. They'd forever drop poles, drop mittens, trying to light a cigarette. There's nothing worse than getting to
Well,
the
now
top
that's
and
when
not
I
being able to
like
get down without your poles, your gloves, or something.
That's when I'd light one, because you're up in the cold for 20, 30 minutes, depending on how big a lift you're going on, how long the lift you're going on. And, but all day long I skied, and I did that for a week. And I took 2 cartons of cigarettes with me, and I came back with a little over a carton back with me, and it was like,
And you're a
I
three-pack a
expected
day
to smoke
smoker.
all these, you understand? And it was like,
That's good, so you need another vacation. When you're ready, you need to go skiing, you need to go sailing. You can go, if it's an option. Well, it's been nice meeting you all, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
And if I can provide any other kind of information that you want to know about, maybe, think of something down the road, Sue has my number, so she can get in touch with me, and I'll send whatever I can your way. We have a third video now. If Joyce, if you wanted to see the session that you missed, they're on video, so you're welcome to use them, or if you want to look at them at a later date, Sue will have them in her office, I'm assuming. Okay?
Oh, she'll have these,
Yeah, these are hers.
I didn't realize Jerry had started smoking.
Who's Jerry?
I never knew this. We should cut that off while we're talking